Hello, parents and children, welcome you all. Today, I'm going to tell you the three major goals which should be achieved as a parent by you. According to American Psychological Association, there are three major goals which should be achieved all across the world by the parents through different parenting practices. We all are following n number of parenting practices, right? But we don't know which are the three goals we should achieve through them. So let us first talk about the aims to be achieved as a responsible parent. All right? So let us start with number one. The first and foremost goal is to ensure the health and safety of your child. Now, ensuring health and safety of your child means not only physical health, but mental well-being also. The second thing to be achieved by the parent is preparing the children to become tomorrow's productive adults. Now, what does this mean? This means that we should develop those essential skills which will make my child to excel in tomorrow's competitive world. And the third and important goal is transmitting cultural values. Now, let us see one by one. The first goal is how we can ensure that my child is physically and mentally healthy. What all the parenting practices we should do to achieve this goal? The first thing is that regular exercise. Dear parents, we all are knowing the benefits of exercise, but still we don't do it. This is a bitter truth, or we can say it is the irony. But it is very important to understand that today's generation lives a life where they have to sit and do their work. तो आज हमें क्या सीखना है कि हमारे बच्चों की जो इस लाइफस्टाइल को पूरक बने. To support this lifestyle, we have to make our children do exercise. That is physical exercise wherein the child will sweat. The more the child sweat during the exercise, the more the child is involved in the exercise process. There are certain chemicals which we call as neurotransmitters, which are being released in the minds of our children, in the brain of our children. Like endorphins, okay, these are hormones, epinephrine, norepinephrine, which makes the child feel good about themselves. It gives them happiness, okay? Or else you will find the children who don't do exercise. They are more fond of eating and they are becoming obese. Obese means मोटापा. बच्चों में मोटापा बढ़ते जा रहा है. इसका कारण है आज की लाइफस्टाइल. सारी चीज़ें अवेलेबल हैं बच्चों के लिए, रेडी टू डू, रेडी टू ईट, रेडी टू कंडक्ट, बट बच्चे को कुछ मेहनत खुद से नहीं करनी पड़ रही है. इसलिए एज अ पेरेंट इट इज़ माई मेजर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू मेक आवर चिल्ड्रन अंडरस्टैंड दैट you have to do certain exercises which will make you physically fit, and it will also take care of your mental well-being. Now, when we talk about mental well-being, what does it mean? Doing pranayam, breathing exercises, doing meditation. Now, what is the meaning of meditation? Many a times you must have heard this term, meditate, meditate, meditate. As a parent, what you have to do is that you need to understand that your child till 7 years is always in a state of meditating. You must have observed when a child is doing something which he likes to do, he is completely involved in that process. So getting involved, getting completely into the process is known as meditating. For example, if I'm today talking to you all, I should be into the process of talking to you all. I should be into the process of understanding your psychology and to deliver you about your children's psychology. So dear parents, it is very important and at the most urgent to understand that Meditation is a process which will make your child calm and composed. All right? And calmness is an attribute which should be developed as a parent in today's 21st century. You must have seen children are becoming angry. Okay? They are not at all stable. Okay, to make them stable, first we have to teach them to understand the things with full calmness and concentration. All right, there are so many n number of things coming up because what we call the generation today is taking birth with an iPad in their hands, with an iPhone in their hands. Now those children who are getting an iPhone at the age of 1 or 2, tell me, do you feel that they will be physically active? No, it's not possible. So remember, as a good parent, don't give mobile in the tender hands. Don't give iPads in the tender hands. Okay, it can be monitored observation. It can be a monitored, you can say, learning. But it should be monitored by the parent. Next thing is that when we call yoga, okay, what do you mean by yoga? Now, yoga is reaching towards your inner self, all right? So, you should develop a habit in your child to perform some asanas which are required at this age, at the tender age of your child. To develop concentration, you can make them do vrikshasana, right? To grow them height, you can make them do tadasana. Okay, to make them their body work properly, you can make them do Surya Namaskar, which consists of 12 important asanas. So, dear parents, it is very important to become a responsible parent and to take care of your health and physical fitness of your child. Now, safety. When we call this term safety, now safety at home, we all know that we should take care of our children. We should guide our children properly that do not go and touch the electrical switches. Do not go and use cutter, knife. Do not handle them, these sharp objects. Okay. When the safety outside is that when you are going on the road, please go with some elderly person. Okay. So these are some things which we are telling them. Do not talk to the strangers. Do not eat anything given by the stranger. Now in this COVID-19 pandemic, more safety measures have come up. Wear mask, use sanitizer, maintain social distancing. Now these things should be always guided by the parents to the children. And at the same time, it should be monitored also. Apart from that, when we talk about safety, we have to understand that our children are sometimes so small that they don't know about their own body. And as a parent, we have to make our children aware about the different parts of the body, okay, and their own self-responsibility towards their body, right? Yes, I'm talking about the good touch and bad touch, which we have to inform our children at the lower age, all right, so that they will know what is good touch and what is bad touch. Any touch which makes them feel uncomfortable is a bad touch, all right. So these things should be told to the children in detail. Definitely I'm going to make another video to give you information in more detail about the same. Now let us go on the second important goal which should be achieved by the parent. The second goal is preparing the children to become tomorrow's productive adults. Now, dear parents, there are certain essential skills which should be developed in our children so that they can become tomorrow's responsible citizens, productive adults. The first skill is focus and self-control. Make your child focus in each and every activity that he or she does. For example, if a child is doing painting, we have to make them understand that fill up the colors properly. If a child is eating, we have to tell them chew your food 32 times and make sure that you will not swallow it without chewing properly. These are certain examples which I have told you of mindful behavior. So, focusing on each and every activity that we are doing, at the same time, self control. Okay, there was an experiment done in the older times by a famous psychologist, and he gave some chocolates, favorite chocolates of the children, and he told them he may that the one who will eat the chocolate in the first hour, okay, will get one more chocolate, and the person who will not eat the chocolate will get two more chocolates. So the children who resisted, who were calm, who were having self control, they got two chocolates. And the children who ate within half an hour, within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they couldn't control. They got only one. But when the analysis was done in their future, that what these children are doing, whether they have become the productive adults or not, it was observed that the children who had the life skill of self control, they have grown up at a certain stage and they are doing really well in their life. And the children who were unable to control and ate the chocolates, they are not doing that well compared to those children. Now, it means what? That self control is a very, very essential skill to be developed by the parents for their own children. The second thing is that the second skill which should be developed is perspective taking. Now, what do you mean by perspective taking? Our children should understand, not as a child, but when they grow up, these all skills has to be developed in the process of upbringing of our children. Now, how a person perceives a situation, that is very important to be understood by another person. For example, as a mother, my child should understand that how I will be perceiving the situation. And accordingly, he or she should understand and react. This is a very, very essential life skill which should be developed, and it will be so helpful for them in their own, you can say, work life also. The third skill to be developed is communication. Dear parents, we all know communication is a skill, but always remember that it is 70% non-verbal and only 30% verbal. Children are sometimes not opening. Okay, always remember, always guide your child that, beta, you need to express yourself. Expression of a child, at least towards the parent in the beginning phase of their life when they are small, they should share their views. They should be given a platform by the parents for open discussion. Okay, and slowly and gradually you will find your child will start communicating well. But those parents who are very, you can say, authoritarian kind of parenting, they do the parenting of authoritarian parenting style. It means they are very demanding, they are very rigid, they are very strict. They don't allow the child to speak, and if the child has to speak, he or she has to only say okay, yes, yes papa, yes mama. But dear parents, it is very important to understand that our child is a separate individual entity, and he or she should get a chance to speak, to express, sometimes to explain. All right? So I request all the parents to give this opportunity to the child in this small tender age, so that tomorrow you'll find your child will be able to put up their ideas in front of the whole world. The next important skill, which I feel is the need of today's generation, is taking up challenges. Now, taking up challenges does not mean that going and fighting with somebody or doing something wrong. Taking up challenges means becoming sporty, becoming mentally strong to take up the challenges given by the life. not by certain people, but by the life. You know, the life always tests us, the life always throws challenges in front of us, and we, as a responsible, you can say, entity of God, because we have all been made by God, this beautiful creation made by the God is human being. And being a human being, we need to understand that we should be strong enough to take up challenges. So start giving small challenges to your children in their tender age. Okay, so make your bed on your own. When you go to take bath, make sure that you will wash your clothes and come. When you finish your food, go and clean your utensils, clean your plate and put up in the shelf, wipe it properly. So these are the small tasks we can give our children at this age, and when they grow up, you'll find they'll be independent, they will be responsible citizens of our nation. All right. The next important task which I feel is critical thinking. Now, what do we mean by critical thinking? Critical thinking is an important skill which should be developed in today's time in our children. Analyzing a situation, analyzing a problem, and finding or introspecting about a solution for that problem in an objective manner. For example, if I give a bottle to a child and I will tell the child how you can use this bottle in different ways, how we can use in a multiple ways, the child, if you really listen to the views of a children in a classroom, you will be astonished. One child told me, ma'am, we can use the cap of the bottle to make different geometrical figures, like circle. One child told me, ma'am, we can use the bottle to plant a small plant by cutting it in two parts. Another boy told me, ma'am, we can use this bottle to make a flower pot. So there were so many answers which I got, and this is what we call as critical thinking. Making different things from one thing, from one idea. So that is the demand of today's generation. Creativity, critical thinking, innovative ideas. These skills are very important, which should be developed in our children. Dear parents, for that, instead of imposing your ideas or imposing your thinking on your children, you just make them think on their own. You just ask them to present their views, their ideas, and see, you will get fantastic ideas. All right. Now, the next important skill which should be developed is self-directed learning. Now, self-directed learning means what? Engaging the child in such activities where he or she will learn on their own. You must be knowing that when the child sits for an activity, they are very happy. Why? Because they want to do something on their own. Moreover, when the child has been given a freedom to do activity which he or she likes, that too alone, you'll find the child learns so many things. So this is a skill which should be developed. You can be an observer. Okay, from some distance you can sit and observe what your child is doing, but let the child learn his or her own experiences. All right. So we have to be a parent who is giving a scope to the child to perform and to learn and to experience new things in their life. There are some experiences which we can share with our children so that they will learn from them. But some things are there which a child should learn by him or her own, on their own, right? Now, the third important goal which we all have to achieve is transmitting cultural values. Now, dear parents, what is the meaning of culture? Culture means we as an individual live in a country which is a great country with a very enriched culture. India is a democratic country and one of the greatest country given excellent things to the world. Now, the first culture which we should transmit to our children, I feel, is patriotism, जिसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं राष्ट्रभक्ति. It is very important to inculcate patriotism in our children by taking them on the national festivals, to the places where flag hosting is being done, to make them stand straight and say the national anthem of our country with proud. Dear parents, it is told that patriotism is an attribute or is a culture which should be transmitted to the children by the adults, by the parents. And for that, we have to first inculcate in ourselves. Today, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, who has started with Atmanirbhar Bharat. This initiative taken by our Honorable Prime Minister is really, really commendable. Moreover, dear parents, along with this traditional value, we have to inculcate honesty, we have to inculcate politeness, humbleness in our children. Definitely, knowledge is very important attribute which should be there in the children. And remember, you must have observed the person who is more knowledgeable, he or she is very humble. This is the symbol of great people. This is a sign of great people. So always remember, dear parents, if your child is humble, he or she is going to grow in their life. Very important, ethics and moral values are inculcated by the parents, by the teachers, by the elders, but it cannot be inculcated in a child if the parent does not follow it. So, dear parents, don't worry that your child does not listen to you. Worry that your child is observing you. So, when you are honest, your child is definitely bound to become honest. If you are patriotic, if you are a true patriot of your country, your child will definitely inculcate patriotism. If you are humble, polite, soft-spoken, good at heart, kind, your child is going to inculcate all these attributes, all these moral values in them. So, I request the parents that as a responsible parent, you should understand that your each and every act, each and every movement make an impact on your child. To live in the memories of your children tomorrow, you have to live in their lives today. It is very important, dear parents. Remember, we cannot make the future of your child, but we can make them ready for their future. Right? So I request all the parents that understand these three major goals which as a parent you should achieve in the process of upbringing of your child. Thank you.